Making sure it's popping up.
That's what she said.
We have a 30 upload, so we should be good on any kind of... We shouldn't hit any snags.
Okay.
Alright, sweet. We be live. Here we go with the pre-show. This is a brand new pre-show that we're putting up here, so it's the first time anyone's going to be able to see this. It's some of our old comedy sketches. You'll see.
There's Mr. Pearson.
Sam Power and Mark Pearson.
Sam Power!
Alright, everyone's got 5 minutes. Cody, if you need a last minute pee break, now's the time.
Alright, son. Sounds good.
It's what you should really do.
Oh boy.
What should you do if you have a doll in your house that's not quite right?
Flippin' Martian. Yeah, we filmed this at your mom's place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Dino!
We got Dino, we got Tanisha Fuller is here. Rob
just had a birthday.
Oh. Alright, let him enjoy this.
And that's what you should really do. What should you do if you move into a haunted house?
Well, we're home. Well, you guys heard it. We're filming. Come on.
And that's what you should really do. What should you do if you see a creepy hitchhiker on the side of the highway? That's what you should really do. What should you do if you're at home alone in the shower and an intruder breaks in?
I was wondering about that. That's the best part!
Yeah, I know. A lot of people would say so.
That's kind of nudity.
Yeah. It's tasteful.
Andrew.
Wrong house, motherfucker.
And that's what you should really do.
Hey, what's up? I'm Tiffany Shepard, star in movies like Exit to Hell, The Frankenstein Syndrome, and Sharknado 2. I'm watching The Horror Show. What? It's scary.
We're skipping 5 seconds. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the horror show. I'm Cecil Laird.
I'm in Fuego.
And we have a frozen screen all of a sudden over here. Cody, you there? Oh no, what happened?
Oh, shite.
Cody? Of course. We had it worked out. Let's try this one more time. Oh no, he offlined. Where'd he go? Where'd he go?
It was like this pre-roll is going way too long.
Cody, I know. What happened? Cody! Oh no. Let's, hey guys, Fuego, vamp. Guys, we gotta find out what happened with Cody.
We're trying.
You're the worst vamper ever. You're just vamping by being quiet. Alright, let's see. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? It says he's offline. I can't call him if he's offline.
Oh no!
Did he April Fools us?
He did warn us that that was going to be the case.
Oh no! Jeez.
No, he says right there, calling back. Guys.
Calling back. Okay, cool. I was like, oh no! It disconnected. Calling you now. Is it showing?
Toilet paper. April Fool.
It shows you offline. No good. No good. There he is.
We back?
There he is. All right. Sweet.
Just looked like I was on my phone ignoring the shit of everybody.
I noticed that. I was like, uh-oh. This is going to go great.
He did April Fools.
Let's try this again. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the horror show. I'm Cecil Laird.
I'm in Fuego.
I'm Cody Leach.
That's right.
Oh,
I should have prepped you that was coming. Sorry about that, sir. That's right. We have someone that has fast become one of my favorite horror movie YouTubers on YouTube, I should say. And here's the thing. He's not strictly horror necessarily, but it is a very large focus on his channel, which is part of the reason why I wanted to have him on. We got to have Lee from Drum Dums on a few weeks back, and I'm actually looking to complete the triumvirate with CP from Will I Like It Reviews in the very near future as well. But Cody here is part of the same Facebook group that Lee helped co-create. Exactly. He's flaunting the gear right now. Killer Flicks. Yeah. It's an amazing Facebook group. I'll make sure and put the link in the description box once this is done, or while Fuego is talking. The link is already in the description box for Cody's channel. If you guys aren't a part of it, make sure you click that link and go subscribe to him. He does his reviews in front of a green screen, which is something that I've wanted to do for a while, but we just don't have quite the space and setup to do it quite like I want to do yet.
I'm super envious of the green screen YouTubers, man.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I'm envious of the green screen YouTubers that actually use it to its potential and have fun with it. And even if it's just selecting a background that matches the damn movie you're reviewing, like it's simple things like that a lot of people can, just ignore. But
you could be like Jeremy Johns and just have red in the background. You're just
exactly.
Boring as
fuck.
fuck.
Simple.
Boring. Man. I love that guy, but nonetheless, it's
keep it simple, but keep it horror and thematic. That's what Cody seems to do. So anyway, this is a really long intro to say, Cody, welcome to the horror show. I was excited to have you on to interview you and do what we normally do, which is go over your horror history. So welcome, sir.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here, guys. Appreciate it.
Stoked to have you, brother.
Cool.
Yeah.
So the first question we always ask any new guest to the channel is, please tell us, what is the first experience you remember having with the horror genre? What sent you down this path?
This dark, treacherous path we all navigate.
Child's Play 3.
Oh, shit.
I was like 3 or 4 years old, and I still remember to this day. I walked into my apartment. It was me and my dad, and I walked in. And I still remember the visual of looking at our TV and seeing the intro with like the molten plastic swirling and then Child's Play 3 shooting up on the screen. And watch the rest. Yes. Watch the rest of the movie with my dad. And from that day forward, I mean, it's that, Freddy, Michael. I mean, I say this all the time. I used to watch Nightmare on Elm Street before bed. So I mean,
really?
it was.
Wow.
Yeah, I swear to God, that was like everybody was about Disney and all that kind of stuff. I was like, I want to watch, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 before bed. Okay.
I'm sure that
Yeah,
toughened
yeah.
you up at an early age, man. You're like, I
Exactly.
can hang with whatever. I'll watch this before bed.
Exactly.
Don't front, Cody. You were just studying to know how to fight Freddy if you had to.
Exactly. I'm just trying to bulk up my Dream Warrior skills.
There you
Hell
go.
yeah.
Exactly.
That's what's up.
Well, that's awesome though, because honestly, you tagged two of my favorites right at the front. Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is my favorite in the Nightmare series, and then
Me too.
Child's Play 3, while not my favorite in the series, it was the first horror movie I ever saw in the theater. Yeah. And not
Wow,
only
okay.
that, but I'm actually going to be teaming up with Luke from Confused Reviews to review Child's Play 3 later this summer. So I'm super excited about that, but you have very good taste, sir.
Yeah. I always defend Child's Play 3. Everybody shits on it, but I swear that movie is still a really good sequel. Child's Play 2 just got there first.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree with that. Despite having to recast Andy and everything for the story purposes, yeah, I agree. It's a super strong entry in the series.
Yeah. Well, now we have to ask like how your taste evolved over time, man. I mean, you dipped your toe into the blood pool pretty early. So like, I mean, as you grew up and stuff, I mean, were there like certain franchises besides the ones that we've mentioned that you just became hip to, or did you dive into more obscure horror? Like, how did this knowledge grow for you, man?
I actually started really spreading my wings once I got onto YouTube, to be honest. Once I started hanging with the big boys like Drum Dums and CP and everybody on Killer Flicks, I'm like, oh, I don't know shit about horror. I better, you know what I mean? So I kind of had to start looking up, some Argento stuff and make sure I watched all the old Romero, and, I had to make sure I saw more than just the first Psycho and the Alfred Hitchcock movies. So, like, I've really spread my wings lately over this past probably year and a half, the most. But, yeah, I grew up watching slashers. Obviously, whenever I got into my teens, it started becoming about all the Scream ripoffs and Scream copies, and then we started getting into the torture porn genre and all that. So I kind of followed the trends for the most part until I really started getting into kind of going my own direction in probably my early 20s and trying to go and find stuff that I missed back in the 70s and the 80s, and trying to find stuff that's not just kind of the the top 10 that everybody always mentions. So kind of somewhere around there.
Yeah, it's nice to have some obscure picks that you can like vouch for, and people are like, "Oh yeah, I don't remember that one as often as I should." So
absolutely, and I'm lucky too because my dad was always a really big movie and horror fan too. So there's plenty of movies that are obscure that I grew up with because of my dad. Like one of the movies that me and Drum Dums always gush over is the '80s movie Trick or Treat, the metal horror movie. So that's one that a lot of people really don't know about or don't really understand whenever you mention it, that you're not talking about the anthology Trick or Treat. So I got a couple of those in my back pocket that I kind of throw out every once in a while. Like, yeah, I grew up watching that one.
yeah, that's a fun movie though, dude. And Ozzy's like on the news, if I remember. He's like a newscaster or something. And
These evil people have got to be stopped.
yeah,
Well, obviously you have a love of music as well, Cody. So I wanna touch on that a little bit later.
Oh yeah.
And in fact, Fuego, don't let me forget
oh,
that.
yeah, I mean, I'm
because
wearing my Alice in Chains over here.
yeah, well, I want to touch on it specifically because I loved, Cody's commitment during his Friday Part 6 review.
Well, I also saw the Godsmack rant video from the other day.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
No, but I loved it. He donned the Cooper makeup and stuff, and
Oh, yeah?
yeah, it was really great. And he, because he was all bloody and stuff. Anyway, I'm not gonna ruin it. It's a good review. Guys, go watch it.
I have to go
But
watch it.
it's entertaining. That's the thing. The guy's entertaining. That's why I like it. But when I watched it, I even left it a comment. I was like, I actually served Alice Cooper a malt once upon a time when I worked at an ice cream shop when I was like 15 years old, and I didn't even know it. Like,
So
he's
that
like,
was
can
the
you
one
make a
with,
malt? And I was like, I think so. Let me go ask. And I went and asked my manager. I was like, hey, Derek, can we make malts? Like, how do I make a malt? He's like, it's just a shake with a scoop of malt powder. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. And he's like, do you know who that is? I was like, no. He's like, that's Alice Cooper. I'm like, the Feed My Frankenstein guy?
Yeah.
Like that's a Wayne's World was my entire frame of reference.
He's
for
back,
Alice Cooper.
the man behind the mask.
Well, that was the one.
Right.
That's the
Yeah,
one
yeah.
from that. Yeah, Friday
Oh,
the 13th.
dude, the first
Love that.
time I met Alice was great. I was just in a Circle K, the convenience store, and he's just in line with his super sexy daughter in front of me, and I was like, wait, is that Alice? Yeah. And I chatted the album he was doing at the time, and it was cool.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Alice was rad.
the benefits of living in Phoenix, where Alice lives.
Yeah.
Although
Yes.
Cooperstown just closed down.
Yeah, that broke my heart.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Really?
Finally
That was a place
happened.
I always
Finally
wanted
happened.
to play a concert there with my metal band, but Just wasn't meant to be.
By the way, Will I Like It Reviews is here, and he says he was flattered by your compliment, saying one of the big guys.
Oh yeah. I wasn't just talking about your channel either, CP.
Oh, hey now.
Hey.
Wow, that sounds like there's stories there. Hey, I'm going to have to ask CP about that.
That's
All
some
right.
healthy love right there.
So I'm going to
right.
move into Cody. Now, of course, everyone's tastes not only evolve like Fuego just asked, but you also start to experience as a horror fan all of the different sort of subgenres of horror. And whenever we do these first-time interviews, we always sort of do a semi-rapid fire session of all of the subgenres to get your quick opinion on them, okay? So, we're going to start off with, of course, slasher. What overall thoughts on the slasher subgenre?
I love the slasher subgenre. I mean, that's what got me into horror. That's the ones that I kind of hold closest to my heart, to be honest. It's a genre that I wish would kind of come back in a big way, and I'm hoping that Halloween 2018 kind of brings that back to us in a good way. And
since they can't get shit done with Friday, so it's terrible.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's probably my favorite subgenre of horror, to be honest. If I'm going to be honest, it doesn't necessarily have the highest quality of movies, but you know, sometimes that's part of the charm.
Fair point. Okay. Moving into true life serial killer type horror movies. What do you think of those?
It depends. There's some good ones, like if you're talking about kind of like the ones that are based off Ed Gein, like Silence of the Lambs and stuff like that, then you can get some really good ones, but you can also get some really cheap ones too that just kind of try to benefit off the name of the killer.
Henry Portrait Serial Killer is a classic one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, you talk about a movie that you watch it once and you're like, okay, I don't need to watch that again. Yeah, so for sure. That one, like I said, there's some that I love, and there's some like Henry. That's a perfect example where I'm like, okay, I could check that off of my little bucket list now. I don't ever need to see that movie again.
Yeah, I felt that way about Maniac.
You know, exactly the same thing. I actually said that in my review. I said, this is exactly
that's why I
like
agreed
Henry.
with you so wholeheartedly. I was like, fuck yeah, I'm never going to forget the shotgun to the face scene, and that's all I ever need to remember.
Yes.
By the way, Tom Savini has been on our channel twice. As a matter of fact,
cool.
He actually stopped at our booth at Mad Monster last year. Mad Monster, by the way, Mad Monster AZ coming back in July, and Robert Englund and Tyler Mane and a couple of other fucking like Jason, two Michael Myers, and Freddy himself are all coming. Plus the cast of Aliens.
The Aliens cast.
Yeah, we're gonna have Michael Biehn, Lance Hendrickson, I believe. I hope. I don't know for sure. They haven't confirmed it yet, but I believe.
Also the chick who played Vasquez, and she was also in Near Dark, I want to say.
And Newt, too, right?
No Newt.
No Newt.
I saw.
Okay.
Yeah.
No Newt.
At least Newt wasn't at the Charlotte date.
No Newts. No Newts. Sorry. All right. So let's move into
Let's jump into some other
paranormal.
Okay.
That's not a great immediate reaction, Cody.
There are some genuinely good ones in the paranormal genre. However, that genre got beat to fucking death over the past like 5 or 6 years. I'm sick of them. Like paranormal, and I'm sure another one which is they kind of mix and match with paranormal and demon possession, but I'm sure that's another one you'll get into. But that's a genre where we hit the little trend and everything had to be a damn paranormal movie. So there are some good ones. Like I love The Conjuring. I love The Insidious. There are some other really good ones. I love the first Conjuring. I like the second Conjuring. I love the first Insidious. Yes, I love the first Insidious. I like the second one. I really like the third one. That's kind of an unpopular opinion. And the fourth one was just okay.
Yeah. Never got to see the fourth one, but I actually love the Insidious series, so I'm kind of bummed I didn't. But I agree with you. I thought 3 was sort of an undersold better, like except for the fact that it was once again about the cross-dressing old woman. Like you know that's not that wasn't scary to me. It was always the red-faced demon that was scary to me. But still, I love it. I love James Wan. I loved both Conjurings. I actually liked
the
2
second one better.
a little bit better. Yeah.
But they're both super.
And especially after knowing that the Crooked Man was actually like he wasn't a digital effect except for the dog transformation. Everything else was actually a real guy doing like.
That's hard to believe too, man. That's hard to believe because I remember when I saw that movie, I was like, "This is such a weird digital effect in this movie. It jumps out at you so strange." But yeah, those are fun series. And if I'll be honest too, I think one of the biggest issues I have with the paranormal movies is that it felt like they all had to be found footage, and I fucking hate found footage. So like the Paranormal Activity movies, that's kind of the cornerstone of that genre right now. Not a fan of any of them.
Okay, so well, we're gonna get to that too. So
I'm gonna jump into one actually.
Go ahead.
Talk about a trend that's been done to death. I mean, you're in Georgia, you know. I mean, the zombie subgenre, bro. Do you have any fatigue about it? Are there any that you actually think are quality, or have they beaten that red-headed dead horse like way too much?
I've never really been a huge zombie fan, to be honest with you. There's a couple, like I love the Zack Snyder Dawn of the Dead.
Hell yeah,
I love
that movie.
I love 28 Days, and especially 28 Weeks. I'm one of the few that love weeks more. Yes, so I love those movies. You get the occasional fun one like Zombieland that I can enjoy, but for the most part, I've never really been a big zombie guy, and The Walking Dead has completely burned me out on zombies. I could really give a shit about zombies at all for at least 5 years.
Yeah, I can kind of.
Unless they come out with 28 months later, then I'll be interested.
Which they keep saying they're trying to get it done, but at this point, I'm not holding my breath, unfortunately. So. Exactly,
and I think part of it too is because and you could tell by the movies I just named, I'm a big fan of like the feral, fast, vicious zombies. I'm not really a big fan of the slow walker, stereotypical zombies, and that's 90% of what you get.
Yeah, which is funny because when I interviewed Romero a few years ago before he passed, he hated that trend in zombies. He hated them running and being, more like infected whatevers. And I'm like, well, dude, you did a movie like that. It was called The Crazies, and that's essentially what that was. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm burnt out on the trend too, dude. What do you think? Vampires or werewolves or some other kind of, or maybe just like creatures in general?
Yeah, I was going to say creatures.
Yeah. I think that there's been enough time since Twilight that I think we might start getting some vampire and some werewolf movies that are legit. The only ones that I've seen since Twilight that are awesome are Stakeland. Stakeland 1 and 2. Those are awesome vampire movies.
I wasn't a huge fan of 2, actually.
I need to rewatch it because I've heard that. Maybe I was just in a really good mood that day, but I think when I watched it, I thought Stakeland 2 was almost as good as the first. I was like, damn, because I expected with it being on Sci-Fi Channel, I was like, oh, this is gonna be bad. But when I watched it, and I was like, that's pretty fucking good. I like it. So
nice. Cody, let me ask you a question. Are you able to turn your mic down just slightly?
Yes.
People are saying you're peaking just a little bit, so that might help. I'm trying to do it on my end, but it's locked because I'm streaming.
Is that better?
Yeah, that might be a bit better, although, wow, the video just changed.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can
fix that. Ooh. Computer's dying.
I tried to get my chat to work up, but it wouldn't.
You can maybe turn it up just a little bit more, actually.
Turn my headphones
Yeah,
up.
yeah, there you go. Guys, is that better? Wow, what happened to this? Why did this go all wonky? Hang on. Your screen went crazy.
Oh, great.
Hang on. We're fixing it. We're fixing it. The Skype does this weird ass thing where it's like it flips out at the top right. Why did it make that change in the middle of the damn stream?
Thinks I'm gonna do and just flip out, man.
Wow, this is messed up, dude. Hang on. It's not gonna let me make it bigger anymore either. Oy vey. All right, here we go.
Yas.
Oh my god. Okay, so I'm gonna make the chat window a little bit bigger. Bear with me, guys. Okay, so Cody, the next thing, Fuego, why don't you go ahead with the next thing?
I'm on it, dude.
Sorry about that, Cody. This I've never had the program kind of freak out on us like this. You're still there. We're just
audio and visual skills.
We're just we're seeing the Skype stuff now, which I was hoping not to, which it's just not letting me not do. So. All right, we're stuck with it, guys. Sorry about that.
Sorry about that.
Sorry about that.
Sorry about that.
Something changed when you changed the microphone. You went down in quality a little bit, but that's okay. Well, it's okay. You're good. We're good.
So now that we've got to know a little bit of Cody's taste, y'all, when did you start the channel? How long have you been rocking this? And, like, what's the approach you like to really hit your content with? So peeps, when they jump over, subscribe, hit the bell, get all those notifications. What are they going to find, man? Did we freeze again?
You there, Cody?
Did we freeze?
Oh,
I'm here.
We're back now.
There we go. Q.
I'm good?
Yep, you're good.
Yeah.
Okay, man. Making me nervous. Let's see. The August before last was when I started the YouTube channel. So this August will be 2 years.
Cool.
I started off doing a podcast. I did a podcast from June until that August. At the time, I was in a job where I was driving a lot, so I got really sick of music that I was listening to. Then I started listening to podcasts and everything, and I was like, I could do this shit. This would be fun. So I started doing that, and I had a lot of fun with it, but it's really hard to get traction with podcasts. So I kind of felt like I was just wasting my time, and I was intimidated by video editing and stuff like that because I had never done it before. Like when you watch my first video, my sausage party review, that's the first video I've ever edited in my life. So I started the YouTube channel, and I'd say about the first 6 or 7 months, I kind of made the mistake that a lot of people make whenever they get into it for movies. They're like, you know, I'll just review all the new movies that come out, and I'll be successful as hell. And you're such a vanilla channel if you do that, because so many people just review what's new in theaters this week that it's really hard to get going. So then I met Drum Dums around February or so. His stuff was a lot of horror, and I was like, you know, I love horror. I need to do like a horror franchise. So I put a little poll out on Facebook, Twitter, a video on my YouTube channel, trying to get people to pick what horror franchise to review, and it was crazy because it was constantly going back and forth between Texas Chainsaw and Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. Like every day it would change what was in the lead. Ended up being Nightmare on Elm Street, so I did the whole Nightmare on Elm Street series, and I just got so much good reaction from viewers, from even the subscribers that I already had. I had so much fun doing it that I was like, I'm going to do more of this. So I kind of switched gears and started being more of a horror focus while still doing other stuff, you know, still talking about Justice League and Ready Player One, all that kind of stuff, anything that was new that was out, plus music and the occasional video game. So that's kind of where I've been at since then. So pretty much all of last year, and then obviously all of this year, that's kind of been my focus is, you know, I'll do a horror franchise, or I'll do something new, or I'll pick an oldie out of the hat. Like whenever It was coming out, I did Christine, I did Pet Sematary just for fun. Started being a lot more active in like killer flicks and the horror community at large, and that really just kind of broadens your horizon too. And as far as my style, when I approach a video, honestly, I just try to have fun. That's just the main thing. Like if I like when I was doing Friday the 13th Part 6, like I knew when I started the Friday the 13th franchise that I was going to wear Alice Cooper makeup when I did that video. I was like, that's going to be fun. So whenever I approached it, I was, you know, usually my intros, I try to think of what the tone of the video is going to be. I'm like, okay, how am I going to have fun with this? And I kind of started this little storyline in the beginning, just winging it basically in front of the camera, that Lee and CP were going to come join me at this cabin because I made a background with the cabin and Crystal Lake. And I just kind of went from there and made like a little trailing story for all of my intros. But even if I didn't have like a trailing story, I just try to have fun. I try to put my thoughts out there as honest as I can. If I really like the movie, I try to be as enthusiastic as I can about why I like it and try to make it to where, you know, I don't even really need to defend my opinion because I put my opinion strong in the video. And the opposite as well. If I hate the movie, then you know it, because I go in there and I just rip it to shreds most of the times if it deserves it. Like Freddy's Dead. I had fun tearing that thing apart. So I just try to have fun. I try to produce a video that I would want to watch.
There you go.
There you go. It's a good way to do it, man.
That's
for sure. All right. So let me ask you: is there any horror that you're actually looking forward to in 2018?
I'm hearing a lot of great things about A Quiet Place, so really we're looking forward to checking that out. Obviously, the big one this year is going to be Halloween. You know, that's the one. Even if I'm burnt out like hell on talking about it, because killer flicks, it's like every 5 minutes somebody's talking about Halloween. That's kind of an inside joke. Mm-hmm. But by the time it gets here, I'm going to be like, I will call out of work to go see that movie if I have to. Like, it's going to be insane. So fingers crossed, it's going to be awesome. Beyond that, honestly, I try to stay very under the radar with new horror movies. I like to go and watch them after I hear a little bit of buzz, or, you know, people start talking about it, and I try not to even watch trailers anymore, because I've had so many movies ruined for me by watching the trailer, and the trailer shows a reveal or the best jump scare in the movie, or tells you the entire fucking movie, like Sinister's trailer. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I've ever since 2016, with horror movies especially, with the exception of something huge like when Halloween comes out, I'm going to watch that trailer. But I try to go in as blind as possible. I try to listen to the buzz. Okay, people are talking about this one. I'll go check it out, and I'll go in completely fresh. Like one that I watched last year that I knew absolutely nothing about was that movie with Joel Edgerton, It Comes at Night.
Yeah. And
I walked into the theater, didn't know nothing about the movie other than Joel Edgerton's in this movie. And I didn't end up liking it, but anyway.
Yeah, you walk out going, Joel Edgerton was in that movie.
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't learn anything else. But that's my preferred way to see horror. So even A Quiet Place, honestly, I don't know anything about that movie other than John Krasinski's directing it, and supposedly they have to stay quiet for some reason.
You haven't seen any of the trailers, huh?
Haven't watched a single one, and I'm not going to.
Reveal some stuff in the trailer.
Cool. You want to know what it's about?
hey.
Exactly. But yeah, that's my preferred way to do it. I think it makes the movie experience so much more enjoyable if it's a great horror movie, or just a great movie in general, but especially a horror movie, if you can walk in and know nothing.
I agree. Agreed with that. Mm-hmm. Yep. What else we got?
Oh, man. This is, we listed it as like a lightning round kind of thing. So, like, favorite icon of the slashers? I mean, would it be Freddy? Would it be, Michael Myers, since it's all Halloween all the time on Killer Flicks? I mean, what's your favorite slasher, man?
I've always been a Freddy guy.
Yeah.
I've always been a Freddy guy. Like, Chucky is a damn close second, but I've always been a Freddy guy. Like, Nightmare on Elm Street was my shit when I was growing up. Freddy, to me, is the scariest. To me, he's the most entertaining to watch. He's the one that I think is just the most iconic, to be honest with you. So, I mean, if you could tell with Freddy and Chucky, I like the killers to have personality, and that's why, like, even though I love Halloween and I've grown to like Friday the 13th quite a bit doing this review series, I've always grown much more, or gravitated much more towards personality than the silent stalker. So,
Me too.
Freddy, yes, exactly. Even though Freddy, he really got off the rails towards the end of that franchise. The first one, the third one, even the second one, to be honest with you, pieces of the fourth one, New Nightmare. I mean, there's Freddy versus Jason. There's so many great moments with Freddy that he'll always be my number one.
Sweet. So what's your favorite Freddy kill, man?
Probably Welcome to Primetime, bitch. Just because that whole scene is awesome. Yeah, it's either that one or it's the one that precedes that one. Whenever the marionette kill, whenever he's got the kid's veins and shit like that, I love that one. Dream Warriors has got so many great kills and so many great practical effects that just don't get talked about. Like, that movie is awesome.
I agree. Yeah, the marionette kill is probably mine as well. Although a close second, which is more of a guilty pleasure, is the comic book kill from 5. Because I've been a comic book fan for a long time, and that was just really cool to see.
Speaking of 5, because I'm really actually not a fan of that movie at all. That one right above Freddy's Dead. That's my least favorite. But the motorcycle kill in that movie is awesome. That one is probably in my top 3.
That's a good one. Yeah, turning him into like basically a weird, fucking, what would you even call that? Like a
there's like a
almost biker,
Yeah. Honestly, dude, for me, it's the Wet Dream from 4.
Of course, he likes.
Love that one, man. Seriously.
Let's be honest. There's no other way that Joey was going out. That motherfucker was going to die being horny. Let's just be honest.
Naturally.
Yeah.
All right. So beyond that, let's see. Well, I guess we could. We kind of hit that. Let's
Honestly,
move on.
What's like an overrated horror film that you think sucks?
Yeah. What's what? Yeah. Some of your least favorite, or things that most people really like that you don't.
That I don't like. Oh man, I wish I could have prepared for that one.
Yeah, I know.
That I
We're
don't
gonna put you on
like.
the spot for a couple of them coming up here.
Yeah, I have to think about one that I just actually don't like at all, but ones that I didn't like nearly on the level that seems like everybody else did. 2 of the big ones, The Exorcist and Suspiria. I like them, but I don't put them in like greatest of all time like it seems everybody else in the world does.
I'm with you on The Exorcist. I haven't actually seen Suspiria.
I like Suspiria. I'm excited about this.
I watched it
coming out. That's kind of like a pseudo sequel, rebequel kind of shit. They got Jessica Harper coming back. Cast looks good, but who knows? It could be dog shit easily.
I watched Suspiria for the first time a couple of months ago. I bought a Blu-ray. It took like a month to get here, but Suspiria was like the topic of the month that year, or that month at Killer Flicks, because Drum Dum saw it for the first time, reviewed it, put it in his top 5 of all time immediately. So I was like, oh shit, this movie's gonna be awesome. Everybody was raving about it. I finally put it in, and it was definitely an experience, but by the time it ended, I was like, really? Like, it was just one of those movies that didn't quite hit me that way. I think I was overhyped going into it, but yeah, those 2, and The Exorcist, just because when I saw it, I was like, I don't know if I was numb to it at that point. I think I was like 8 or 9 when I first saw it. I was like, this isn't that scary. It's cool, but everybody's like, that movie scared the shit out of me. I couldn't talk for months, and all this other stuff. But
Yeah,
as far as a movie that I just genuinely don't like, I'm gonna have to think on that one for a while. That everybody else loves. That's a hard one.
Okay.
You're speaking to the dangers of the horror hype machine, though, man. I mean, we did a whole podcast about it a few years ago where everyone was like, "It Follows," "The Babadook," these are amazing movies, and then we see them and we're just like,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I try to do that in my videos too. I try to make sure I manage how much I hype a movie out. Because if I really like it, I try to tell people like, hey, like when I did Black Panther, I was like, hey, this is a good movie, but don't believe the hype. It's not the greatest comic book movie that's ever been made.
I was
let
down by that hype.
it's now
for
the
sure.
highest grossing one of all time, which is
Yeah.
yeah.
Knew that was gonna happen, but
That's the Avengers. So.
Now let me ask another one that might be putting you on the spot, but maybe you have something at the ready. What is a horror movie that you would do yourself to try and do it better? Whether it be a full remake, or do you have an idea of your own, or what do you want to see done right?
One that actually before last year, the biggest answer I always gave to a question like that, or what movie should be remade, or what movie needs to be remade, was It. But luckily, we got a good It movie now, so now I have to change my answer. Now my answer is going to be The People Under the Stairs, because it's another movie that's the answer to both questions, this question and the last question. I've never seen anybody talk about that movie and hate it, and I've watched that movie 3 times, and I don't like anything about it. It just does not entertain me. I don't know what it is. I love Wes Craven, but the humor just doesn't hit me. It's just it's too weird. It's like it's comedic, but it's not. It's just a strange movie to me, and there's some very interesting concepts there, like the whole thing with the landlords having like zombie children and everything like that. Like there's some really creepy shit story wise and concept wise in that movie, but the execution of it, to me, it just does not work. So I might be the only person on earth that likes my version of The People Under the Stairs, but that's one that I would actually like to kind of see done a different way.
Interesting. Okay. All right. And let's see. Well, Fuego, he kind of answered that one a little bit, so why don't you go ahead on to the next one?
Bammer, sir. No, the whole art slashers there thing.
Yeah. You kind of, because a lot of people have been asking us recently, Cody, are slashers dead? Is the slasher genre dead?
Never.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. They keep coming back. They'll always come back.
Slashers is like metal. It will never die. It will never die. It might take a nap. It will never die.
Yeah, I'm suddenly thinking of a Lars Ulrich quote where he's like, metal's like herpes. It never really completely goes away. Like, such a great comparison.
Of course, Laura said that.
Yeah, Laura, I'm not a fan of Lars. Anyway, especially being.
I don't think anybody is.
I think most drummers are like Lars. Nah. Anyway, okay. So, do you have a set schedule on the channel, man? I mean, like specific days or times or anything like that, or you just toss content out at your whim?
It's all chaos, man. There's no schedule. I used to have a schedule. When I first started off, I had Monday was my news video, which is, I was talking to Cecil about that. That's why I enjoy your guys' so much, because I actually was trying to do something like that when I first started off, but I was just, the amount of time and effort that I was putting into those videos for the amount of views as a brand new YouTuber was just not adding up. So unfortunately, I abandoned it. But I used to do news Monday, Wednesday was a top 5 video, and Friday was a review. But now, honestly, it's just, with having kids, with having a potentially 60-hour-a-week job some weeks, it's just whenever I get a chance to do it. Like last week, I went crazy on Saturday and I recorded like 4 reviews. I did the Jeepers Creepers 3, I did 2 Hatchet reviews, I did the Rocky ranking, I did the Lethal Weapon ranking, and I edited them all on Sunday. Yeah, I just started pumping stuff out all last week. But on average, mostly, I try to get 1 video at least a week. Not always, but for the most part, I try to do at least 1, sometimes 2. But there's no schedule to it. It's just really whenever I get a chance to.
I'm a little bummed at your reaction to the Victor Crowley stuff. We were not fans really of the 4th one.
It's okay.
But we were kind of swept up in the fact that we watched it with Adam Green there in the theater, and we got to meet him afterwards and stuff. That can kind of cloud a person's review just a scotch.
Oh, yeah.
But the fun thing about that is I still haven't received it. I actually need to check in on it. But
yeah, I was going to say you bought that book, right?
Yeah. So the book that the guy wrote in the movie that gets dragged back into the swamp, the main sort of character for this one, he actually wrote that book. Adam Green and his co-screenwriter wrote that book. and it's I got the hardcover version of it. It was supposed to be sent to us, I think, in February or March, but I haven't received it yet. But it's actually like told from the character's perspective of how he supposedly defeated Victor Crowley in the third movie and stuff like that. So I'm excited to read it and throw a review up on the channel. But yeah, man, I don't know. I guess I was just I was under the impression there were a lot more big fans of Victor Crowley than I guess maybe there are or something. I don't know.
I don't know, man. Sometimes those that it's hard to judge off of a comment section if your opinion is the popular opinion or if the people that agree with you are just being louder than the ones that don't. I mean, so like when I did Hatchet 3, when I did Victor Crowley, didn't give either one of them a good review. Spoiler alert. But didn't like either one of them. And I'd say 80-20, 80% of the people are like, oh, I totally agree, and 20 people are like, whatever, stop reviewing these movies, you suck. So, but yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed the first Hatchet. I don't know. For whatever reason, the humor, the tone of that movie worked for me, but the other three just don't at all. I don't really know if it's just, maybe I was in, again, like I said, maybe I was in a great mood when I watched Hatchet, and then I was pissed off when I watched 2, 3, and 4, but something about it, like just the humor to me is just so weak in those movies, and I don't know. It just doesn't. The biggest disappointment for me, honestly, in the third one was that Derek Mears and Kane Hodder didn't have a better fight, because I was waiting for that the whole movie. I was like, oh, they put the new Jason and the old Jason, they've got to have a big fight. They have to. That's going to be the climax. And the shit was like 5 seconds long. I was like, what the fuck? As soon as that happened, I was basically,
By the way, check this out. At Mad Monster in July, Kane Hodder is showing up and doing 2 different Jason photo ops. One, but both that have never been done before. Both from the Friday the 13th game. He's doing the Jason from Hell, and he's doing the 8-bit purple Jason from the NES game. And Tom Savini is going to be there doing the makeup for both.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and hopefully, if all goes according to plan, we'll be there filming it like we were there filming the Pinhead Experience last year with Doug Bradley. So hopefully it's going to work out that way. But let me ask you, Cody, you do ranking videos, you do reviews, and some other type stuff. Is there any kind of episode or any kind of other thing you've wanted to try and branch out and try and do on your channel, but you just like, nah, it's too much work, or I don't think my audience would accept it, or anything like that?
Well, 2 answers. One of them, I did 2 of them, but I stopped it. It was going to be like this new monthly thing. I started doing this thing, it was like 4 or 5 months ago. It was called Pitch Wars. It was where me and a guest, we would choose a topic. Like the first episode was a DCEU movie. And we would prepare our own scripts or outlines. You could be as in-depth or as minuscule as you wanted to be, and then we would film a video where we both presented our scripts, and we would let the audience vote on which one they wanted to see become a movie. And the first one I did with Durbin from Durbania, another really good channel that you guys should all check out, was the DCEU movie. And it was like an 1.5-hour video, but it's one of my favorite videos I've ever done. Like, I put so much into it. It's so cool with the music that I put into it, and with how enthusiastic Durbin is, and so fun to watch while he's giving his Justice League spin, and I'm giving my own Batman movie. I'm a huge Batman fan, so it was just such a fun video to make, and I'm very proud of that one. And then I did the second episode, which equally proud of, but it was definitely much more scaled down because both of our scripts were much smaller. I did it with CP, and it was to create your own slasher. And it's, again, a ton of fun. CP went more of the kind of classic, let's have a moralistic tale behind the scenes and everything, and I was going for gore fest, so it was just cool hearing, you know, 2 people tell about their own movies, and then having everybody chat in the comments about, oh, I like CP's better because of this, I like yours better, and it was so much fun. But the amount of time it took to coordinate, write the scripts, film it, edit it, put all the bells and whistles in, and they both got like 200 views. So I was like, ugh, can't do these anymore. As fun as they are, but it's just like, it's just doesn't make any sense. So I kind of abandoned that, unfortunately, despite the fact that there was still people that are like, hey, when's the next Pitch Wars? Like, people really loved it, but not enough people, unfortunately. The other thing that I've seen done quite a bit that I have not done on my channel yet, that I've wanted to, but just haven't quite taken the time or the energy or haven't had enough interest to do it yet, is commentaries. I tried to do one, a patron exclusive one for the Lost Boys, but unfortunately what ended up happening was, and I tried to turn my volume on my mic really low to where I was kind of talking with the mic and watching the movie and, you know, being me and kind of being animated while the movie was going on. And I tried to re-edit it 3 different times and upload it 3 different times, and every time YouTube would flag it for copyright because they could hear the Lost Boys in the background. Pissed me off. So that kind of turned me off to it for probably the foreseeable future. If I could figure out a way to do it where I can't pick up the damn audio from the TV, or I'll just have to watch the movie in mute, which would also kind of suck. Yeah, that's something I would love to do, but just...
Can't you just connect headphones to the TV and just listen to the TV with headphones on?
TV's too far away. I mean, I could buy stuff for it. That is a solution, but that's the thing with not having the energy to do it just quite yet.
6-foot audio cable from a 12-foot audio cable from Amazon will run you $10. Yeah. That's
okay. Cool.
But yeah, no. Hey, if you ever bring back Pitch Wars, let me know, because that shit I love.
That sounds
doing
hella
that.
dope.
And like I've already created my own slasher, and I would love the DC movie stuff, because that's basically the only time we veer away from horror on this channel is to cover superhero stuff. Like we did.
Oh yeah.
We did a Deadpool 2 reaction. We did an Infinity War reaction. We did a couple of Justice League reactions that actually did very well. Got like 50, 60,000 views. Because I'm so animated and I love that shit.
Very nice.
So yeah, if you ever bring back Pitch Wars, please, yeah, keep us in mind.
For sure, I will.
All right, so Fuego, I finished that.
We got to do some music questions, man.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So you mentioned metal, man. I play drums and stuff. Me and Leah bonded over talking about Tool and shit like that. So what are like some bands that you think fuse like a like a scarific element to their shit that you think is pretty cool?
I've always I've talked about my dad. My dad raised me on movies and music, so I grew up with Alice Cooper. Obviously, was like my gateway drug into rock. He was the first guy I was obsessed with. I've always been a big Metallica fan. Even the era that everybody hates, I still love it.
Oh, dude, I love 90s Metallica, where they tried doing... they basically turned into a hard rock band. And,
yeah.
But then again, Megadeth was doing the same shit. Everybody slowed it down in the 90s, got a little more commercial, but... Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was a huge fan of that. Right now, my top bands are like Stone Sour. I love Stone Sour. Huge Corey Taylor fan. Okay. Alter Bridge. I think that's like the most underrated band in the world right now is Alter Bridge. People... They get turned off when they hear it's Creed with another singer, but they are nothing like Creed. Like they have some of the most.
I mean,
yeah, they have metal, they have rock, they got radio stuff. I mean, they just have so many different genres that they kind of mold into one. Mm-hmm. They got an incredible singer with Miles Kennedy. Yeah. I think Mark Tremonti is probably the greatest guitarist of this generation, honestly. And those guys are constantly writing and recording. Like if they're not with Alter Bridge, they're doing solo stuff, and it's just constantly seems like every time I turn around, Tremonti's releasing a record, Alter Bridge releasing a record, Miles Kennedy's got a solo album out. I don't know how they have time to sleep, but those guys are great.
I still remember seeing Miles back when he was in a band called like Mayfield 5 or something. This was like 15 years ago before he obviously hooked up with Slash and Alter Bridge and got big. So
yeah,
he's got some pipes, dude. Seriously.
Yes, it cracks me up when I watch Rockstar and I realize it's Miles Kennedy at the end. So, I mean, that's kind of, but yeah, they're awesome.
Underrated movie, man. I like that movie.
I love that movie.
It's Wild. Stand up and shout. No,
yeah. I love the hell out of that movie. I'll defend that one to the day I die. Love it.
It's fun to become a grunge band at the end, and it's
it's totally just reminiscent of how things went. Actually, a band that just released a new record. Got to give some old school love. Love Judas Priest. Always been a big Judas Priest fan. Even though they're kind of on hiatus, I love Stained. Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of it. Godsmack, provided how this new album goes, I might have to shun them for a while, but I love Godsmack.
I love those first 2 records a whole hell of a lot. The rest has been kind of sketch here and there for me, but I mean, Sully's a great singer too, man. I mean, and I mean, when you think about the first record or 2 where he was playing drums, he was playing guitar, he was pretty much like doing everything in that band. So. Oh
yeah, that dude's insanely talented. So yeah, those are kind of the ones that come to mind right now. I mean, there's tons of bands. Like I got Iron Maiden behind me. I've got Fastway, Trick or Treat, Dokken. I mean, I've got a lot of old school metal love. I got a lot of. There's very few new bands. That's probably the ones I'm harshest on is the new stuff, just because it seems like the stuff on the radio is just all so vanilla to me. But like Hailstorm is probably the newest band that I really love.
Yeah, that girl's talented. Yeah.
Yeah.
Easy.
Well, you know, the one I listen to right now is Highly Suspect. That's the rock that I'm listening to. So
Yeah, I'm into like the.
I don't know where they rank amongst your.
Oh, I love my Swedish death metal, man. I love my arch enemy and the Haunted and shit like that. But
all right, well, Cody, I want to ask one last question here that is kind of more relating to the current state of things that we have had to deal with, that a lot of horror tubers have had to deal with, that actually the Horror Addicts recently put together a 24-hour creepy crawl to sort of help combat it, which is, you know, the YouTube Adpocalypse 3.0 or whatever, that's completely screwing over horror channels and whatnot. What are your opinions on the state of horror on YouTube as it is right now?
I have kind of the unpopular opinion of that one, to be honest with you. CP asked me that question not too long ago, and I kind of had the answer that everybody didn't want to hear. I actually don't have that big of a problem with what they were doing. I think that it definitely kind of is shitty, and it's definitely shady, but it's not really any more shady than YouTube was before they did that. You know, so ever since I've been on YouTube, it's been pretty clear that they don't really care about the little guy. They don't really care too much about the horror tubers. The guys like Jeremy Johns, the guys like PewDiePie, and whatever that dickhead was that had the dead body on his video. Those are the ones that they're gonna, those are the ones that are gonna get whatever they want, whatever they need, because they get the big views. If you're starting out on YouTube, prepare for an uphill battle. It's just one more hurdle you have to go over. This new little requirement that they have. I'm not sure what their motivation is. I don't know if they're just trying to shave off the couple of pennies for all the channels that don't quite make it, that only haven't even made their first $100 yet. Maybe that's their motivation with it, but I don't know. Just to me, you're going to have to work really hard to have a successful channel, whether that stipulation is there or not. Like when I started, dude, I mean, I would put, not even exaggerate, I would put sometimes 7-8 hours into one video, just trying to have the best video possible, and then I would have that hard truth about, you know, if you put it on there, it doesn't matter if you worked on it for 30 minutes or if you worked on it for 2 days. It's kind of chaos on whether or not that video succeeds to a degree.
Vacuum.
Yep.
Yes, exactly. Like you can do whatever you can put a great title on there, and you can have an awesome thumbnail. You can make the video as entertaining or streamlined as you want. You could fill it out with tags. You can market it on Facebook. You can market it on Twitter. It's still chaos. As soon as you upload that thing, it's basically up into the ether, and it's going to be a little bit of luck whether or not you get 100 views or 10,000 views. Because I've done videos where, you know, now they're kind of consistent, now that I'm getting close to 10,000, but for a long time there, I would put out a video, and I might get 7,000, 8,000 views, but like, holy shit, I'm going to do the exact same thing with this review. Put it out, 300 views, 400 views. And it's just, whenever you have this stipulation now about you have to have, if I'm remembering correctly, you have to have 1,000 subscribers, and you have to have 4,000 watch hours. Is that it?
Yep.
Yeah, the watch hours thing is a little bit rough.
Really?
But yeah, it
I guess
depends.
that's because, yeah, see, that's the thing. It's so weird to think about it from our perspective because we put up 2 episodes a day. So even a smaller audience putting up 2 episodes a day, watching that is gonna get that fucking those hours. Like we were at like 300,000 hours or something like that, just because we put up so much content. I imagine that's a tougher struggle when you're doing once a week.
Exactly, and that's what I mean. If you're doing once a week, and I'm of the rare exception of somebody that actually tries to put out long videos. Like most of my reviews are 13 minutes minimum. So most people put out reviews that I've seen, and it's, you know, 3 minutes, 4 minutes.
10 minutes is the target, though. 10 minutes gets you 3 times the revenue through YouTube.
Exactly, and you know, but a lot of people don't realize that. They just try to put something out quick, especially if they're starting out too. It's hard to fill out 15 minutes talking about one movie. It sounds like it should be easy. You got 90 minutes of shit to talk about, but
if you that's what I realized very early on for our reviews. Sorry, Cody, I don't mean to cut you off there, but
no, go ahead.
But you made me think of something. Like when you really break down a movie by its internal parts, like literally what we do is we do overall thoughts, then we do story, acting, effects, music, you know, cinematography, anything else in turn. When you break it down like that, you're already automatically over 10 minutes just because it takes you that long to even mention a couple things about each of those categories. So it's just about being creative with how you present your reviews and going, a little more in depth than perhaps other people do.
Present that.
Exactly, and that's kind of the approach that I take. That's how I kind of grew towards longer videos. Whenever I first started doing movie reviews, I would have 5-6 minute reviews where I would feel like I covered everything. Like, dude, like there's nothing else I could talk about. 6 minutes. But then I'd go to Nightmare on Elm Street. This is kind of when I transitioned into it, and I would have 17 minutes, 18 minutes, because I would dive much more into it because I was much more, you know, in love with that series than a movie that I just happened to see on a Friday night. So I would talk about the characters. I would talk about the legacy. I would talk about the internal problems of the movie when they were building it. I would talk about the music and the cinematography, everything you just named. And by the time you get through all that shit, and after you hack off all the editing and you throw in a couple of quick jokes here and there or a skit, you know, little things that I do just to kind of make it a little bit more fun. Just like you said, it's like, damn, that's 15 minutes right there before I even put the intro on.
Yep.
So, yeah, so that's, for some channels, the hours is going to be more of a bitch than the subscribers. But my thing is, I think it was really blown out of proportion. It's worth being pissed over. It's worth saying, what the fuck, YouTube? Like, we're putting out this stuff. You're getting views. You're getting traffic to your channel. You're getting money because of my hard work that I'm getting pennies on the dollar for at the end of the day. But to me, it just exploded into this huge thing where it was like, you know, horror on YouTube is dead. YouTube is dead. This channel is, or this platform is gonna die, and you know, we're all gonna suffer. And it's like, none of us are paying the bills through YouTube.
Right.
None of us. Not even the most successful channel. Like my biggest month, in last October, whenever I had the most subscribers, I got like $400 on YouTube, which is amazing for a channel my size. That's still a drop in the bucket compared to the shit that I have to pay for. So to me, it was just one of those things where it should be a motivation for people to, I got to work hard. I got to get to that 1,000 subscribers. I got to get that 4,000 watch hours. I need to work harder on this. I need to tighten up my videos. I need to, you know, some motivation stuff. Like, my channel needs to be better so that I can combat this and get to the next hurdle. And to me, it just seemed like everybody was giving up. Everybody was like, this is it. This is the end. The only way that we're going to...
fleeing to other fucking platforms.
Yeah, and I saw a lot of people bitching on Twitter just saying, I'm throwing the towel in. See ya.
Exactly.
And I don't think I can do this. And for me, if anything, it just... We got acquainted with a lot of new channels just through that crawl and stuff. And I just realized how strong I feel like this online horror community really is, you know? I mean,
yes.
all these channels that are friends with each other, that cross-promote and help each other out. It actually showed me that I found horror to be more alive than I even really realized that it was. So.
Exactly. And yeah, and that stuff's awesome. Like, that whole crawl thing, unfortunately I didn't have a chance to participate in it because I was a rough weekend for me, but I caught the tail end of it, and it was just cool to see. It was cool to see how many channels just kind of got together for this little movement. And like you said, it just makes the horror community especially just seem like it's just this tight-knit group that just like the metal community, it'll never die. But I got more frustrated with the whole controversy than anything else, just because people's response to it just annoyed me. Like, there were so many people that were like, you know, sub for sub, this is my channel, I'll subscribe to all you guys.
Shit out of me.
And my God, I'm just like, you know, what are you going to do when you get that 1,000 subscribers now? You're going to do the cheap route, you're going to get there, you're going to get over that little hurdle, and you're still going to get 17 views for your video because you're not taking this as a motivation the way that you should. So
it's all about perspective, man. You're right.
Yeah. So it sucked. YouTube's going to have more of this. There's going to be something else. Maybe this year, maybe next year, maybe in 5 years. There's going to be something else that's going to piss everybody off. It's going to seem like a giant slap in the face because YouTube's a corporation. But
like, oh,
you got to...
It's a witch hunt. Like,
yeah, you got to roll with the punches, man. You got to roll with the punches.
They're a private company. They're a business.
Exactly.
But you know, Cody, that actually leads to a good follow-up question, because this is something that we've been messing with the idea with for probably over 6 months at this point, and everyone else seems to be doing, which is you, Lee, Horror Addicts, you know, a bunch of other people that we watch, which is Patreon. Trying to, you know, sustain yourself in other ways. And I see every video you pull up your patrons, and it's like we just haven't pulled that trigger yet. Like, you know, obviously you keep doing it, so it's worthwhile. Like, how from YouTuber to YouTuber, how difficult is that? How much does it help? Like, how in depth can you get? You know, what help me out a little bit on this.
Patreon is an incredible platform. The people that support my channel on Patreon are amazing to me. Like, when I started Patreon, I didn't want to do it until I got to at least 1,000 subscribers, because that's one of the things that I've been annoyed with before is you get somebody that's got like 15 subscribers, they put a Patreon out there because they realize YouTube's not going to make them rich. And that's the wrong way to do Patreon. Patreon is a platform that if people enjoy your content, if they want to see more, or if they want a little bit more personable experience, or if they want some cool perks, or if they just want to support you because they know that YouTube does not very much, that just gives them an avenue to do that. You know, when I started Patreon, I was expecting by the end of the first year, maybe I'd have 4 people. I didn't think it was going to be really something that was going to catch on now. I've got 37 patrons right now, and that's like mind-blowing to me. The people would actually send me their hard-earned money saying, I love what you do, here's my support. I mean, it's awesome. It definitely supports what I do much more than YouTube does, because as much as I love doing this stuff, obviously I'm a family man. I've got a very demanding job, and it takes a lot of time and energy to get the quality of the videos that I try to put out. So at the end of the day, if I was just getting compensated by YouTube, at some point I would probably have to either throw in the towel or tailor it down so much where I would maybe be doing a video or so a month, just because it's hard to justify spending hours and hours on this thing that you're really not getting any return from.
True.
So Patreon is a good way to kind of justify the amount of time and effort that I put into my channel. And it's a good way for me to give back as well, because, like, for example, some of the perks that I offer is once you do a certain level of patronage, like I think it's $10 and up, then you have the opportunity to choose a review for me to do. So if somebody wants me to, like, I have a review that I'm going to be doing, a buddy of mine, Nick, who's one of my patrons, he wants me to review the old Poseidon Adventure, which is it's a unique movie for me to review because of my channel, but stuff like that is very cool to me because it's like, okay, I like this guy's perspective, I love hearing about Friday the 13th and all that, but I want to hear your thoughts on this movie. And it kind of broadens my horizons a little bit, because there's movies that I'm sure I'm going to get requested, that I have been requested, that I've never even seen before. So that's a really cool thing. I do things like the digital copies and all the Blu-rays that I buy, and I buy a lot. I'm like a Blu-ray whore. I don't use them. So one of the things I do for patrons too is if you're at a certain level is once a week I'll drop 3 or 4 digital codes for, you know, like I just did The Last Jedi. I did, yeah, stuff like that. I mean, you know, if you get a free digital code, I mean, shit, that's like $20 right there. So it's a good return. Like I try to do things to make it to where I definitely show my appreciation for people's support for me, and it also just gives a really good avenue for people to support the channel in their own way without having to just click the like button, click the share button, and hope that YouTube comes through. So it's something that I would definitely encourage you guys to do. I mean, you're way beyond the level that I would say is like kind of the benchmark to check out Patreon, because you guys got a ton of subscribers, a ton of really dedicated love on your subscriber stuff. So I think the second that you guys dropped a Patreon and let everybody know, I think you would be blown away at the amount of support that you'd get.
It's definitely an experiment.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I think we've
initially.
more and more we're leaning towards it. So thank you for that. I think you just pushed me over the edge. So I appreciate that, Cody. That's the thing. You know, we may have, you know, we're closing in on 19.2 as far as subscribers go. So we're not far away from 20. And but one of the things I've learned is you never stop learning, even from smaller channels. And so I've learned some stuff from the addicts. I've learned some stuff from Lee. I've learned some stuff from you. And I've learned some stuff, and I've learned some what not to do stuff from some channels as well. You know, so it's you gotta. I guess I don't know what my point is outside of saying we're not dumb enough to not take the advice of people that obviously are doing things right. You know what I mean? So, Fuego, do you have any final thing for Cody here before we go to the questions from the actual audience?
Man, we hit pretty much most of the stab wounds, man. So I mean,
pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty good. All right, so producer Dave is stepping in with audience questions that have arisen over the course of the stream here.
Yeah, a little bit of a lightning round. Hey, Brady Wilson Trigg he thinks you're his second favorite YouTuber of all time. So that's
awesome.
That's pretty good.
Brady Wilson's cool.
Yeah, hell yes.
I love Brady. He wants to know what's your favorite horror remake or reboot that's been done, you know, in the past 10, 15 years.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay.
Yeah, my all time is The Thing, but if you're talking about recently, like 10 or 15 years, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I think that remake is fucking awesome.
The Jessica Biel one?
Yes.
Yep.
I love the Blob. 80s Blob is my shit.
Yeah, but that's not
dude.
the last 10 years.
I know.
Okay, so
That's why he said The Thing.
Rubber Soul 81, a resident troll, asked, "Who's Cody's second favorite YouTuber?"
My second favorite YouTuber. Holy shit.
Who's the first? Is it going to be Lee? Is it going to be CP?
No, that's why you asked the second favorite.
Yeah.
I'm gonna exclude my friends because that would be a horrible answer to give. You're my second favorite YouTuber, but okay, my second favorite YouTuber is gonna be, if I'm excluding all of my friends, is Chris Stuckman, just because I think I don't watch his reviews too much anymore. I'm not a fan of Jeremy Johns. But basically, I like how analytical he gets. I like how kind of professional he seems to be. And I've kind of, not necessarily taken inspiration from, but I try to be that type of reviewer, where I kind of get a little bit more analytical, get a little bit more fluent with the way I talk, and, try to sound very professional, even though I'm goofing off and, throwing F-bombs out and shit like that. So I try to have like an even mix, but I like him a lot. So he's my second favorite.
Good.
Yeah,
One.
Stuckman is like the anti-Jeremy Johns approach, because Jeremy Johns
Yes.
is like, blah, 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 3 minutes done, later.
Exactly.
I'm a Channel Awesome guy myself. I like the critic, and I'm actually kind of a fan of Tamra.
Yeah.
And Tamra's never seen, and Tamra just saw.
So Edward D, with the biggest D asked, he wants to know if you're a fan of A24 films, and also if you are a fan, and if you haven't seen Darkest Hour, to check it out.
I have not seen The Darkest Hour, so I will check that out.
That actually is a really good one. We saw it at a festival a couple of years ago, right? Wasn't
Which
that The
one?
Darkest Hour?
Yeah.
The one with the girl that was trying to
that was
get revenge?
That was the Blackcoat's daughter.
Oh,
No.
Blackcoat's daughter.
Not Blackcoat's
That was
daughter.
also
But anyway, I'm talking about a different one. But go ahead, Cody. Sorry, answer.
A24, it depends on the movie. There's A24 movies that I love. There's A24 movies that I did not like at all. Like It Comes at Night was an A24 movie. Didn't like it at all. Just Disaster Artist, I believe that was a A24 movie. Loved it. So I mean, it depends. I don't think that all of their entire catalog is one or the other. It just, every movie's different.
Green Room.
Green Room. Yeah.
Green Room, big fan.
Green Room.
Haven't seen the Dead Daniel Radcliffe movie yet.
Oh, the one with the farting corpse.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah,
So
that one.
whatever the hell it was.
It's a
This one?
band.
Yeah.
Darkest Hour.
It's interesting.
Oh, the band Darkest Hour is what
Check
they
it
were
out.
asking about. I'm telling you about.
And then also, follow up to the music question, Adam David wants to know, do you listen to any death metal? Decrepit Birth, Decapitated, Suffocation?
No, sir. I'm a big metalhead, but I'll be honest with you, the real heavy like psycho
Monster
like
metal?
Yes, not a fan. Never been a fan.
Like that really great, except for the growling band Chiron.
Yes, exactly. Said it. There's very few bands
Cody,
like.
would you combine a rock music soundtrack with your filmmaking, original compositions, because he plays guitar, of course?
You damn right. You damn right. I would have something like, if I was a director, pretty much all of my movies would probably be like The Devil's Candy, where you have this badass metal soundtrack in there, if it fits.
Was the Devil's Candy was the one with Ethan Embry, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because there were two metal themed movies last year, right? What was the other one? It was Devil's Candy, and then there was the other one that was
I don't know.
themed one. Damn it, Fuego! You got to be my guy on this.
No,
but I love Devil's Candy way more than the other one.
I like Deathgasm, dude.
Deathgasm, that was the other one.
That was from
I
a
like
couple
Devil's
years
Candy
ago.
better.
Did you?
Oh, I like
love
Devil's Candy way
Deathgasm.
better. Yeah. Did you see Deathgasm, Cody?
I did not.
Yeah,
I saw Devil's Candy though.
And also a great question to ask all of you guys is, do you guys feel like other Jerks Productions asks,
Brandon,
do you guys feel like other channels that do the same thing are helpful or harmful?
that's a good question.
'Cause I
Cody,
actually
you want to
have
go
a really-
first?
I have a really good answer.
What was the question?
Do you feel like other channels that do the similar or same thing as you are helpful or harmful?
That's kind of a loaded question. There's some channels that I have seen flat out blatantly rip off things that I have done, 100,000%, all the way down to the thumbnail. all the way down to the thumbnail. And that stuff annoys the fuck out of me. Not just because I feel like I have a copyright on how to do a thumbnail, because I don't. Not because I feel like I have a copyright on my style, because I don't. I'm sure there's people that have similar styles to me. But to me, it annoys me because why would you want to do that? Like, that was the one thing that I did not want to do when I started YouTube, was be compared to somebody else. Like, if you watch my first maybe 6 reviews, I had such a bare bones background, a bare bones thumbnail, that people accuse me of ripping off Jeremy Johns, because Jeremy Johns is the king of, you know, bare bones. Just go on there, turn the camera on, do your review. And as soon, like the first time I got that comment, I switched all my shit up. I switched up the background, I switched up the thumbnail, I made the videos go longer, I switched up my intro. I would hate to succeed being somebody else. So that annoys the shit out of me. If you're talking a more scaled down, just channels that happen to review horror movies and stuff like that, it's good. As long as they're a good channel and they have something good to say, then it can only hurt, or only help.
Fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, if we had to answer, I would say the same thing. Those that do it wrong, and then, like, there's the thing. Like, there's actually levels of doing it wrong in this instance, because you can do it wrong by just not knowing what you're doing and expecting a huge audience to come. You can do it wrong by just flat out doing everything on the review wrong, and then still expecting, you know, an audience, or you can fucking do everything right and still expect an audience to come, which is wrong. You know, like
it is a
the reason I made the vacuum
things,
comment earlier is because that's what it feels like for the first few years, and that's what it should feel like. Because, you know, unless you've done something that's gone viral that gets everyone at your doorstep, it's going to be an uphill fucking battle.
Which is a little luck, like Cody said. I mean, there is an aspect of that to it. You know?
Absolutely.
All right, one final question from the audience to end this great, you know, interview. Cody, it's been great getting to know you. But Stephen G. Atkins, one of our greatest commenter, wants to know what movie that has no sequel, not necessarily what horror movie, what movie that has no sequel deserves a sequel, and what you would want to see as a sequel.
Dread.
Okay.
I fucking love Dread, and that movie, the fact that we're not going to get the follow-up to that story and really start getting into what they were going to get into, and get into the dark judges and Judge Death and all that kind of stuff, it pisses me off every time I get to the end of that movie. Even though I have a blast the whole 2 hours, when I get to the credits, I'm like, fuck, this is where it ends. So Dread is a great answer. If you want a classic answer, The Burning.
Okay. That's an early 80s slasher, right?
Yeah. All right, those are good answers. Good answers.
Well, they do have that.
Dread, especially. I love that Carl Urban
Dread
version.
was awesome.
But Dread was essentially the Raid Redemption, but Americanized. Did you see the Raid movies?
I've seen pieces of it. I haven't gotten through the full thing because I bought the Blu-ray, but unfortunately, I think the only Blu-ray that's available is the dubbed one, and it annoys me more to watch a dubbed movie than a subtitled movie. That's fair. So I haven't gotten through it. I think that the fight scenes are badass though, because I've seen clips on YouTube. I've watched probably most of the movie, but I need to. That's a movie that I need to sit down and just force myself to finish.
Well, the storyline is the same as Dread. I mean, it's an apartment building with a bad guy at the top that the cops got to get to, and So, but you know, Dread was amazing.
The 3D in Dread is some of the best I think has ever been put to certain. The drug effects.
Yeah, because there was a point to it. There was a point for it. They had a purpose to put 3D. That's another trend that I wish would fucking die. Is like, ever since Avatar, it's like everything has to have post-converted 3D. But you have a rare movie like Dread where they're like, okay, we're actually going to put some shit in the movie that makes sense to have 3D and utilizes that technology in a good way.
Yeah.
Well, there's the saving grace that they're working on that Mega City 1 TV show, and Carl Urban is in talks to return, but he just wouldn't be the central character. He'd pop in here and there, but...
yeah, no, that's a dick tease, though. That's a dick tease.
All right, well, you know, I think, Cody, that's a pretty good place to wrap everything up. We've gotten through the audience questions. We've gotten through our questions.
Awesome.
But before we go, go ahead and let everyone know if there's anything you got coming up. Let everyone know where to go on the channel, all that stuff, even though I do have the link in the description down below, but go ahead.
All right, so the biggest thing to look forward to for recent uploads for me, or upcoming uploads, is I'm going to try my best to power through the rest of this Friday the 13th franchise. I've gotten the first 6 done. I just marathoned the rest of the franchise this weekend. That was a rough marathon, too. But But so expect the New Blood, Jason Takes Manhattan, Jason Goes to Hell, Jason X, the remake, and I'm including Never Hike Alone. Nice. Expect all of that. If God willing, I'm trying to get it done by April 13th because I want to be done, and I want to do a Friday the 13th ranking video on a Friday the 13th. So that's the big thing. Yeah.
That would be good.
And where to find me, the easiest way is you just go to youtube.com/Cody Leach channel.
There you go. All right, guys. So make sure you go and support Cody. Hopefully he'll be, we'll be able to have him back on the channel. And Cody, we are at Phoenix Comic-Con in just a few weeks. We're going to be launching with the Death Twitch live at Phoenix Comic-Con. We're going to be launching the Inter-Channel Great Horror Debate. So if you would be interested, we essentially select about 5 topics, and then we debate you live, and then the audience would kind of be the moderator / decider of who wins.
They're the decider. I'm the
Yeah,
moderator.
there you go. Audience is the moderator. Audience is the decider. Dave's the moderator.
Yep.
But yeah,
that's got my name written all over it.
All right.
That's got my name written all over it, man. I got a PhD in arguing and talking shit, so that's got me all over it.
Awesome. Okay, so yeah, we'll come up with some good topics that we'll be able to both espouse on, and we'll have some fun. So I'm going to say thank you very much, Cody, for joining us. This was a great, fun interview. I'm really glad we got to do this. I'm going to be making sure to pay attention to your channel as much as I have been, if not more so.
I hit the bell today.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So make sure
Ring
all
it.
viewers do the same thing. Click that link in the description box down below. Click that bell, and make sure you support Cody
and us.
All that he does. Of course, support us as well. We do have a link in the description box for our TeePublic site where you can get all kinds of cool merch. And then I was wearing a new Jason shirt that I've actually just only recently been able to fit into, my Jason Believes Sasquatch shirt, so that's pretty exciting. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us, Cody. Until next time, though, guys, I've been Cecil Laird.
I've been producer Dave.
Gracias, I've been having fuego.
And I've been Cody Leach.
That's right.
Thanks to everybody in the chat. I love you.
Thank you, chat. And remember,
stay scared.
Hey, he knew it. All right. Love it.
Come here, chat. I love you, chat.
All right.
I just want to.